Danavan Hilton. In this particular case, I am representing the political side of my life, and we are here in beautiful Hendersonville. Forgive my ignorance on the county, right next door to Davidson County. And as a former regional vice chair of the Davidson County Democratic Party and still serving as an executive committee member of the Davidson County Democratic Party, my life is twofold. And what I mean by that is I'm in the business of, or focus of, helping to create self-sustaining individuals, particularly those in diverse communities, particularly those that are from low-income communities. And so that has, coming to Nashville homeless, coming to Tennessee homeless from Southern California, and being able to grow a self-sustaining business through recruiting and retention, also in my book known as Business Development and Community Relations through Hilton Lead Marketing Agency. It has been a passion of mine to be able to uplift my community that has done a great job of assisting me to get to where I am and helping them to become self-sufficient themselves. And so through my business, it has geared me toward government relations, because one thing about business, you can't have your private sector without working with your public sector. And as a relationship management consultant, a relationship management expert, it's my job to be able to bridge gaps, to be able to go into uncharted territories, to challenge the norm. And so we are here with all due respect, with all transparency, and with all integrity at Bill Lee's town hall meeting. Bill Lee is the chairman of Lee Company, a heating, ventilation, and air conditioning company here in Nashville that produces over $200 million in sales. And he's running for governor. And though I'm supposed to be over on that side of town, I'm here because my network of business associates, mentors are growing, and I find that those are individuals both in the conservative and Democratic side. And so we're here today because I was invited. Nothing, they didn't tell me to come and be here or anything, but I was invited. And so I wanted to come down to build, to get to know folks, and to network, not only for my personal business, but to also get into a new environment. If you look where we are, beautiful green space, if you can catch it over there, beautiful green space. And driving in, it was just refreshing, coming from, with all due respect, the inner city, to be able to get a new environment. And so I want to bring this perspective to my community. And I pray that you can understand where I'm coming from, not as a ploy or I'm doing something underhanded, anything of that nature, but to bridge gaps, to get to know the other side being both the public and private sector, so that I can bring more resources to my community. And so that's what I do. And I'm going to stand in that as a man, as an individual, because that's what's required. And so we're going to go in here, check out the town hall, see what comes out of it. Maybe we can talk to Mr. Lee. Again, $200 million in sales as the chairman. That's the level that I want to be at the minimum. So why not talk to the individuals that are making it happen? So let's go ahead and check it out.
Are you looking for the shower or building? Okay, in here.
All right, so we are here, Bill Lee, town hall meeting in Hendersonville. I want to say I'm the only man of color here, so I stick like a sore thumb, but that's okay. But it's pretty much what I do. I go into uncharted territories and bridge gaps. I do this for my business as well. Keep in mind that I represent lower income communities, connecting lower income communities to your higher class communities to be able to bridge those gaps. So we're here today. This is all part of the game. And we'll go ahead and check it out. So let's go ahead and sit down, find a seat. We got some seats here, and hopefully we can get an interview with Mr. Bill Lee as well. So Danavan Hilton here. We're here at the beautiful town hall. I'm with Joseph Anderson, young professional, first of all, mover and shaker. Mr. Anderson, what is your motivation to support Mr. Bill Lee, and what is your idea as far as his character, if you don't mind me asking?
Yeah. Well, I had the privilege to work for Bill for 2 years at his company, Lee Company, and I realized that he cares about every single person that lives in this state. He's a really remarkable man.
Awesome. And where can individuals find more information about Mr. Bill Lee and his campaign, if you don't mind me asking?
Both on his website, his Facebook page. We've got that information everywhere. We're doing town halls still until the end of the primaries anyway, so if you want to come by one.
Thank you for your time, so I really appreciate it. All the best in your career.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it.
All right, let's keep going. 2 questions to ask Mr. Bill Lee. First question is, what advice would you have for low-income residents to become self-sustaining? Second question is, how do you plan on improving the quality of life for low-income residents? And so those are questions that we're going to ask, and we're going to see if you can answer those. Let's keep going.
Thank you very much for every single one of y'all that come out in the middle of a day like this to hear me and to hear my heart for this state. And this is very, very encouraging to have such a good turnout. Thank you very much for being here. I live on a cattle farm with my wife Maria, where my grandfather lived and where my grandson lives. We're in the Hereford cattle business. You may not be involved in agriculture, but it's 13% of the economy of the state of Tennessee. It's critically important, not only for where we've come from, but to the future of this state. And as a man who's been involved in the ag industry for many years, I know that. And I'm committed to an increased focus, both from an education standpoint and a economic development standpoint, an increased focus in agriculture for our state. So I'm a cattle farmer, I'm a businessman, I run a Lee Company. I got some co-workers right here with me today. I'm so proud of that, so proud of them, so proud of the folks I get to work with every day. We are a heat and air conditioning, plumbing, and electrical business that employs about 1,200 skilled tradespeople. Men and women, plumbers, pipe fitters, welders, electricians, HVAC technicians. And I know that you all realize this, but I know it deeply. We have ignored vocational and technical education in our public school systems for way too long. I run a company that was chosen by the Tennessean as the best place to work in Nashville last year, but we can't fill all the skilled trade job openings that we have because there's not a skilled workforce out there. And that's because we've ignored trades in our public school system for so many decades, for way too long. And when I'm governor, that's going to change. We started a trade school in our company 10 years ago. It's called Lee Company University, and we've had 1,000 students go through that program. We need to do that in high schools all across Tennessee. And when I'm governor, we're going to do that. In part because we need to create pathways of success for kids. The 4 out of 10 kids in this state that don't go to college, that are gifted in ways that college kids aren't, but we don't provide much of a pathway to success for those kids. And we've got to change that, because education is not about a test score. It's about preparing a child for success in life. But here's how part of this happened that I ended up making this decision. So I got involved in nonprofit work. When I went through that season of life, I said, hey, you know what? There's just a few things that matter in life, and I'm going to get engaged in them. Got involved in nonprofits. Ended up working in the inner city with an organization called YCAP. Met a kid, 13 years old, and got engaged in his life. When I met him, he was failing every class. He had an F on his report card in every subject. And he was in a poor performance school in inner city Nashville. And I worked with his grandmother to get him moved to another school that I'd heard about. His educational trajectory completely changed when he moved schools. What I saw in personal experience was a child's very future transformed by the power of a good education. And I found myself excited about him, but thinking every kid in this state ought to have the opportunity for their future to be bright because of an education. We're in the bottom half of states in America in our educational outcomes, and our kids deserve better than that. And they deserve leadership that believes that we need to challenge the status quo in education. We can do better in this state. We can do better in this state. And we can talk, I'm sure some of the questions will be around education, I'll elaborate on that. But that passion and that desire to use my life to impact that subject is what got me thinking about doing this. Then I got involved in a re-entry program called Men of Valor. It's a prison ministry release, and I spent time talking to men incarcerated, and I decided to mentor a guy coming out of prison. And I spent one morning a week, every week with him, 5:30 in the morning. And he's been out now for 7 or 8 years, But I watched that life transformed by the power of a reentry program. It's really different than the way we do it in corrections across the state. And here's why that really matters to all of us. Think about this. 95% of every man and woman sitting in the prisons or jails in the state of Tennessee will be released. They're all coming out. And they're being released into our communities. And right now, 50% of them will recommit a crime within the first 2 years of being released in our communities and go right back to prison. And we will pay $30,000 a year to incarcerate them. And their children will have a 70% chance that they go to prison. This revolving door of what you call recidivism, when people keep going back over and over again, is just slowly rising the crime level in our state, one tick at a time. Our 6 largest cities last year had a higher violent crime rate last year than they did the year before. And I found myself thinking, we've got to stop that. And I'm working in an organization that has a 15% recidivism rate instead of 50. And I think, why can't we do that all across Tennessee? If we want to lower the crime rate, then we got to have leaders who are willing to challenge the status quo and say we can do better than that. So I got excited about that and involved, and I started thinking, maybe I could use my life and my experiences to change that. I'm a business guy. We do strategic planning every year. I kind of like to narrow it down to just, what are the main things? People want a good job. They want a good school for their kids. They want a safe neighborhood. I can drive from one end of the state to the other, and I can be in urban Memphis or rural Unicoi County, and that holds true for every single person that lives here. And I found myself working in safe neighborhood, reentry program, education reform, and job creation through my business. And I found myself thinking, what if? And I told Maria, I said, we're going to pray about this every day, starting on January 1st of that year. And I feel certain we'll hear yes or no, and then we'll make a decision. And we did hear, and we made a decision, and we announced it 16 months ago, in April of last year, we launched our campaign off that old RV, wrapped it up to look nice, headed off to 95 counties in 95 days to start the campaign, and we haven't stopped since. And now we're 12 days from the end.
All right, so we're wrapping up the town hall. Very informative. This is what I do. This is what I enjoy doing. I might get some backlash for this, but it's imperative for me to go into various communities to bring information to you. I have a really cool book here as well. I'm going to read about Mr. Lee's story and his perspective of perseverance and just being a private sector guy, owning and running a business, CEO just like myself, is very inspiring because one thing I know for sure is that he would be able to understand the financing and the budgeting, of what's going on, and brought up some really good points, So as a sales and marketing expert, business development, community relations, I do work with different employers and workforce development organizations, and especially with low-income communities. He brought up some really great points about actually increasing trade schools and vocational schools, and actually doing reform when it comes to reentry and corrections. Two big things, that are of concern to me, especially when it comes to employers. Shout out to Jason and Christy Patrick of Express Employment Professionals, downtown and North Nashville office. They do a lot of great work connecting local skilled trade residents to jobs. I believe Lee Company is actually within their territory, and he brought up a huge, big point as Lee Company. They focus on heating, ventilation, air conditioning, plumbing, pipe fitting. He brought up a really great point about how the skilled trades workforce, that gap is continuing to increase. And working closely with Express, working closely with skilled trade employers, working closely with workforce development organizations, I felt his genuine passion on bringing those resources, to the local residents to be able to increase the pathway to the middle class. So We're going to get ready to get out of here. We're going to go ahead and continue to share my thoughts. I feel we have the RV here,
Infamous RV.
the infamous RV that they came and fixed up here. And, I did have some very, politics is so tricky, man, and I'm not a politician. I pride myself on being a private sector guy, but if you're a private sector guy, you have to make sure that you're connected to the public sector. And so I've grown to develop, I guess you can call it a career in politics, simply because my job is communications. That's what I do. And so you'll be surprised. I came in here today and they're like, hey, Danavan Hilton, I've seen a lot of your videos on Facebook. Kid you not.
And one even said you ran in 2015.
And people even knew that I was running. So I don't know, so when I ran in 2015, for city council just to make sure that I can inspire and motivate the local residents that have done a great job of supporting me. But in saying that, people may start to see that I have influence in the political sector. And I feel like me stopping by today was more so a symbol of, hey, take it easy. It was more of a symbol of, hey, we thought Danavan was this way and we expect him to be this way as far as, who his network is. But my job is to bridge gaps, and I've listened, Mr. Lee, he's a conservative, I've run with the Democrats. But one thing I want people to understand, from my understanding, and I'm gonna do more research. We're gonna talk about the history of the Democratic Party. We're gonna talk about the history of the Conservative Party, the history of America. We're gonna get into all those things pretty soon because people gotta understand, first get the wisdom and understanding, the understanding and the wisdom before we can get into anything. But I feel the Democrats and the Conservatives are designed to be checks and balances. And I feel that I'm the and in between the check and the balance. And so what I mean by that is, as a relationship management expert, if people say whatever, I am intelligent enough in my emotions. If you're not into emotional intelligence, get into that, because that's going to help increase the quality of your life. Because if you're not emotionally intelligent or in touch with your emotions, then you're going to end up saying things and doing things that you're going to end up regretting in the future. And so because I am into my emotional IQ, I can sit in front of an individual and get all the backlash and all of the things and not get shook, because one, I'm a professional in what I do. And so I was able to sit in here and listen to perspectives. If I agree with them or if I don't agree with them, I do respect and honor people's perspectives because they are a living being. But in that, at the same time, it could be tricky. And I know that people may see, well, Danavan, why are you over there? I respect a lot of my mentors on the Democratic side that have opened the door, trusted me to do things. But again, I have to go further into this system, into this game, to be able to really bridge gaps. And that's what this was today. And out of that, I was able to meet with a lot of individuals that are in the private sector. Does that mean that one can be bought? No, not at all. But again, if I know where I want to go, I got to put myself in that position, in that network. And I would challenge, that's my whole point for the North Nashville residents. When I say North Nashville, I'm talking about downtown, North Nashville, East Nashville, Madison, White Creek, Jolton. I'm challenging those folks to not be okay with where they are, but continue to push and better themselves. If that means, getting workforce skills, if that means getting into your emotions, if that means doing more volunteering to build your experience, do those things, because that's what we need in order to keep the economy growing, to keep the social community growing. And so that's my message. Again, shout out to Express Employment Professionals, the overall operations, as well as the North Nashville downtown office. They do a great job of helping local residents create sustainable wages, long-term permanent positions. So feel free, I'm gonna put a link down there. Apply online. If you're an employer and you happen to have a business in downtown, North Nashville, East Nashville, Madison, White Creek, or Jolton, Lee Company, they're in downtown, the downtown area. I believe they're in the North Nashville territory. They need more skilled trade individuals. So I'm gonna see if I can connect, those companies. That's what I do. I bridge gaps. And so if you're looking for skilled, qualified candidates for work, reach out to Express. If you're looking for employment, reach out to Express. And represent a lot more employers and workforce development organizations, but that really just touched my heart We're gonna get back on the road here, enjoy the beautiful scenery. Man, environments, greenery is so peaceful, so for the psyche. And getting out of beautiful North Nashville and getting into a different environment was already uplifting. And you guys have a good rest of the day. Stay blessed. Follow my work on YouTube. Follow my work on Facebook. Please subscribe. I do run a business, and I got to make sure that I'm self-sustaining. And one of the ways you're able to do that is by liking, subscribing on YouTube. Also look at my website, www.e1connect.com, if you're looking to increase your customer base, increase your community presence, to include diversity and inclusion. I'm your man. Thanks so much, and continue to have a great day. It's a new day, and we're more than just marketing.